Mounting the Kinetic Spears and Gigs. These instructions apply to all Kinetic Series spears. Begin by using a knife such as the Buck Knives Froe to cut a suitable spear pole. Once your pole is cut from the tree, continue to use the knife to hew a nice, rounded off tip. Remove the bark from the pole. Green woods tend to work better. Place your knife or froe on edge and baton into the top tip of the spear pole. This will create a small gap to which the kinetic spear can be wedged into the end of the pole. Warning: both ends of the spear are sharp. Be careful when placing the spear wedge. Place the spear tip wedge into the gap. Holding the spear tip and the pole together, pound the end of the pole on a rock, stump, or hard surface. The sharp wedge-like base of the spear will wedge into the pole. Once the spear base is started, but not completely seated, create the first group of lashing. This lash will keep the spear pole from splitting further once the spear is completely seated. Begin by holding the end of the 550 cord vertical and flat to the pole. Wrap 5 to 6 loops around the pole from top to bottom, leaving the tag end between the loops and pole. Once the 6 loops are loosely formed, take the other end of the cord and thread it back up under the loop you've created. To tighten, walk the loops around the pole from top to bottom until you've reached the end you thread upwards. Grasp that end while holding the last loop and tug upward, locking the lashes. Now, completely seat the spearhead by pounding the base of the spear pole against a hard surface like you did earlier. Each head should seat up to the inside cutout, or in the case of the 4-point model, the base of the prongs. Once the head is seated completely, repeat the lashing process 2 to 3 more times, working your way up the spearhead and locking the spearhead in using the remaining 550 cord. Tie a series of overhand knots to connect the 2 remaining tag ends together. If you are mounting the 4-pronged spear, begin by quartering the end of the pole. Wedge the large fork in the pole first. Partially seat the fork the same as earlier. Once the fork is seated, create the first group of lashing to ensure your pole does not split further. Thread the small fork into the large fork. Be sure to line up the fork with the quartered opening. Completely seat the spearheads up to the base of the prongs. Create the final groups of lashing and tie the remaining ends together.